And welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Friday the 2nd of May, so it's the end of the week, so it will be interesting to see where we end the week. But, excuse me, but we can also already look at some of the stocks. Some of them have reported earnings this week and some of them yesterday, and then we can have a look at where they're supposed to or where they are projected to open and trade. We have Amazon that is in the aftermarket, was trading around 184. Let's see where it will start trading this morning. I have to say, by the way, that this is an educational video only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever. So let's get cracking on Amazon. Amazon is set to open lower at 184 today. Let's see where it will start trading in the pre-market, but if it closes below 178.85, downtrend has resumed and we could see new lower lows, push down to possibly around 150 to 151 area, but let's see about that, if it will be that bad. Another one that has been trading lower in the aftermarket is Apple. 205, this dotted line here, a dashed line, illustrates that. Could resume downtrend. Couldn't close the gap up to this gap here. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. This gap here couldn't close this gap, and now it seems to trade lower. But if can't close that, then it will push higher. But then we have all the moving average coming down here, so it looks fairly heavy for Apple also. So keep an eye on where it's trading tonight. Nvidia got rejected at 115.10. Didn't get all the way up there, but very close to, and the 55 moving average, and could resume downtrend. It really needs to close above that level for a push up to 122. But then we have the 100 and the 200 moving average coming down, kind of putting a lid on it, trying to push it lower. So it will be a struggle to get higher than it is currently trading. Moving on to the indices, S&P 500 higher yesterday, got rejected here at the 55 moving average, still potential to 5,700. RSI still negative though, needs to close above 60 threshold, and it will probably play out if it can close above 5,700. And here pre-market we can see it's trading up a little bit further, trying to push higher towards the 5,700. Then we have some really strong resistance. It's just below 5,800, 5,786. I think I will zoom out a little bit so we can see better. The Nasdaq index up 1% yesterday, indicated higher also. It is above the resistance at 19,707. Strong resistance up here at 20,222. I mean, we did trade above 20,000, but we closed below. And if it starts sliding back below to the, and I think if we move this one down here and say, okay, if it closes the gap down here to 19,570, well, then there could be another pressure lower and downtrend resuming if we move back below 19,011, and we need RSI to close above the 60 threshold. However, pre-market trying to push higher a little bit here. We have some resistance 19,868 that it is currently testing, and also here RSI pre-market testing the 60 threshold. The Dow Jones index testing the and got rejected at the lower part of the gap area here at 40,986. Let's see here pre-market. It's probably trying to close it. It's pushing higher, and let's remove this one. So it seems like it's trying to push higher also. Fairly positive wins, and it was especially lifted by Microsoft that really traded higher last night with about 7.5% higher. That really lifted the indices. Seng high this morning here, 1.8%, pushing towards the 22,638, closing this gap. If it will mean that, and I think it will possibly early next week push higher. And if it does close above that level, well, then there's potential higher. I think we'll remove this one. Then there's potential higher towards the 24,000 RSI, pushing higher also. And if it closes above 60 threshold, and I think it will do that if we get a Hang Seng close about 22,638, that will further support higher levels for Hang Seng. The Eurostoxx 50 is testing 5,228 resistance here this morning. RSI just below 60 threshold. If both can close above those the levels, well, then there's potential higher towards 5,400 and possibly even higher for Eurostoxx 50. We can see here 5,200 on the CFD, also pushing higher there. DAX index, very strong indeed. As we speak, it is actually above the 60 threshold on the RSI after trading at 1.3% higher. So, and it's very close to also close above the cloud. That will mean we are back to previous all-time highs here. And that seems like that's where we are getting at least close to next week. But let's see where the day will end. That would be very key for the market and for the strength indicator. Here we can see the CFD is also pushing higher, obviously, and RSI now back above the 60 threshold. It didn't close above yesterday, but today it did. So, no, it hasn't closed yet, sorry. But if it does, then there's more in store. We could see a little bit of setback, but bullish trend confirmed further. Euro dollar testing 38.2 retracement, very close to at least, and the support here at 112.40. That is the key support to watch out for the next few days. Will it be broken or will it bounce off? 132.30 on cable, that is key, and 134.50 to the upside. Always add a little bit and always subtract a little bit. And the euro sterling, well, I think it will bounce from here. From this support here and the 61.8 retracement, but if it takes it out and moves below 84.60, then we could see it down, push down to around 84. But you can see all moving averages are rising, underlying the bullish trend, and there's still positive sentiment on the RSI. And I think we will see euro sterling pushing higher going into next week. Dollar yen keeps bouncing. Now it's reached 50% of this downtrend here at 145.55. There is potential up to 61.8 retracement at 146.88. It could test it, and then I think it will be rejected also with the 55 moving average coming down here. So there's some overhead resistance, and there was actually no divergence down here on the RSI. So that'll be key. Can RSI close above 60 threshold or not, or will it be rejected? If being rejected, and if dollar yen is sliding lower here, well, then downtrend could resume. But for now, we are in a fairly strong bouncing mood and could take a little bit higher. Euro yen also pushing higher, finally took out these peaks here, and we are likely to test 165 shortly, possibly higher with the 60 threshold on the RSI being broken once again. So there is actually potential possibly up to 166.5. Aussie yen has reached the resistance here at 93.15. Could still push up to test the 786 retracement here at 93.65, and the upper falling trend line. Key will also be here is RSI to close above 60 threshold or not. If it does, well, then there's further upside potential. If it doesn't close above and it's being rejected, then we can see a setback for Aussie dollar, but downtrend is not confirmed until we get back below a 90.55. Sterling yen got to the 786 retracement, 193.5. RSI back above 60 threshold. Let's see, did it actually do that also yesterday? Yeah, it did. So there could be further upside potential. We are above the cloud. I think we will see a little bit of a setback down to 192, and maybe it will then have another push higher. So we have higher high, higher low, higher high, and maybe a little higher low, and then next push higher towards 195, 196. Aussie dollar still dancing sideways here between 63.40 and the upper peaks here at at 64.50. and it really needs to break out of that for direction. I think it will be to the upside. We have positive sentiment on the RSI. We are in a bullish trend. It is only the 200 moving average that kind of putting a lid on it there. But I think if it takes out 64.50, then I think we'll see a push up to around 65.50. Dollar Canada, just slowly sliding lower. It is a little bit frustrating, to say the least. What will it do or what won't it do? Is it forming a kind of a wedge-like pattern here? Let's see, a pennant-like pattern. Let's see here. It's not that clear. A little dip out there. So, well, let's see. However, and I will add another horizontal line here, if it takes out 139.05 to the upside, then I think we'll see a push up towards 140. But then we have the 200 moving average kind of giving a resistance up there. So we are still sliding lower. Could test 137.45, possibly down below 137. Sterling Canada, support here at 183.15. If it takes out that, well, then we can see a push down to around 182 and the lower part of the cloud there. Otherwise, we are a little bit range bound for now. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, didn't close above 60 threshold, so there is a downwards pressure. Swiss franc bounced from the 50% retracement of this uptrend there, and trying to get back up, but we have the 55, we have 200, we have all the moving average basically trying to drag it lower, and I think it will drag lower if it takes out the spike down there at 93.30, well, 93.25, then I think we'll see a push down to around 92.60-70 level with the 786 retracement. Dollar Swiss, still just below this 38.2 retracement at 83.50 here. So it's really struggling for further upside bounce. However, what I will do, I will add a horizontal line there too, and you should do that. You work with these lines here, especially the horizontal line, seems to be 83.35 resistant. If it takes out that, then I think we'll see a push higher towards 85.5. Otherwise, it will probably slide lower. And the dollar index, more or less the same picture. It almost touched the 38.2 retracement, but just below the gap area here at 100.23. If it starts taking out the lows here from last week at 98.67, or earlier this week 98.67, well, then downtrend is resuming. It needs to close this gap here for really upside potential towards 101.80. Moving on to gold, that spiked below 50% retracement, but didn't get all the way down to the 61.8 retracement at 3,165, where we have some support. It can still do that. RSI is pointing to that. We had divergence here, and we have taken out the support at 3,260. I still believe we could see that, but if we start crawling back above 3,300, well, maybe then we could see a retest of the, or a test of the 3,370 resistance. On silver, spiked to the 100 moving average below the 32, but then bounced, fairly strong bounce actually. If it can get back above the cloud, back above $3, we really need the RSI to get back above 60 threshold for really establishing and confirming a bullish trend. The copper spiked to the 100 moving average here a few days ago and has bounced, and actually 3 days in a row, or 2 days in a row, let's see about today, closed above the 38.2 retracement at 460. Can it bounce, or will it push lower below 450? That would be key. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, and if RSI slides back below 40 threshold and closes below there, then there could be a downside potential below 450. On energy and crude oil here, WTI, it's dipped yesterday below the 786 retracement at 57.20. And has bounced. Let's see if it can bounce further. There is no divergence on the RSI actually, so there is indication that we could see lower levels maybe. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then expect a push below the lows here at 55.12. Other than that, a little bit of resistance there at 60.46. Brent crude oil, same picture really. Yesterday spiked below the 786, closed above, and could see a bounce up to around 63.79, minor resistance, and then I think it will slide lower. The Dutch or EU nat gas is just trading around the 32 euros here, and but on the weekly we can see if we just zoom in, 30.32, we have key support there, so it could still drop down to that level. And the US nat gas spiked higher to 50% of this downtrend here, setting back a little bit, and if it starts pushing below this little spike there, down there at 3.26, so let's say 3.25, then I think downtrend will resume. Yields, US Treasury yields that dipped to almost the 61.8 retracement, just a few pips from it, 4.12 actually, and it is at 4.11, then bouncing, and we could see it bounce a little bit further, but then we have the 55 moving average coming down here, giving it pressure. We're currently trading around the 200 moving average, and I think we will have another go lower, possibly down to 4% and the 786 retracement. It really needs to get back above 4% just to demolish this picture. The 2-year bounced from the 786 retracement and 350, but the pressure is to the downside, and there's strong overhead resistance. You can see all the moving averages, they are just declining, pushing it lower. If it takes out the 350, then expect to push down to around 338. On the European yields here, EU 10-year yields lower yesterday, bouncing a little bit today, but it is in a downtrend. It could push down to around 237 to 235 area. If it suddenly starts moving back above the 253, well, then we can see a bounce up to around 260. UK 10-year, well, found some support here just above 440, just to touch it almost. 441, 442, but the key strong support here is 438. If it bounces, then there is a little bit of resistance here at 456. So a key support there at 438. And moving on to crypto and Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin has broken higher and is trading above 96,000 and has its eyes on 100,000. Let's see if we can get up there and touch it. But we are in a bullish trend. It looks fairly strong, and there's a potential higher towards the 100,000 level. Ethereum doesn't really move anything. I mean, it crawled a little bit higher, but it's just flat. The overall picture. I think it will come with a little bit of delay. So let's see about that. But it's really lacking the Bitcoin. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and a nice weekend when we get to there, and talk to you again next week.